Look at this. That forest floor is 120 feet below us. Up here in the canopy, there is no safety net. It's just me, a handful of iron spikes, and a swarm of thousands of giant Asian honeybees. They are already starting to buzz around my face, warning me to back off. In this video, we are climbing a giant forest tree using a physically demanding, traditional technique to attempt a sustainable harvest of wild honey. My heart is racing, my calves are burning, and one wrong step changes everything. Let's get started. Let's jump back to the start of the climb so you can understand the sheer scale of this tree. Look at that trunk. It's practically a vertical wall of smooth bark rising up into the clouds. There are no low branches to grab onto. To climb a giant forest tree like this, we use a traditional method that has been passed down for generations, though we've modernized it slightly. Instead of wooden stakes, I use long, heavy-duty iron spikes or pegs. I carry a bundle of them in my hand, and using a simple hammer, I drive them one by one into the trunk. Each spike becomes a single step. As I hammer one in, I step up onto it, lean my body weight against the tree, and then drive the next spike about 2 feet higher. It's a slow, rhythmic, and physically demanding process. You can't rush this. If you don't hammer the peg deeply enough, it could bend or slip under your weight. If you hammer it too deep, you won't have enough room to get a secure footing. You might notice I don't have a massive array of high-tech climbing harnesses or ropes. While I do use a basic safety line to keep myself near the trunk, a lot of this comes down to balance, core strength, and trusting the metal pegs. My calves are already burning, and we are only about 30 feet up. As we get higher, the environment changes. The smooth bark gives way to a network of thick vines and climbing plants. While these vines look like they could provide extra handholds, they are actually a major obstacle. I have to use my hand tools to carefully clear away the foliage. Every vine I cut represents a potential home for ants, wasps, or spiders, so I have to be incredibly careful where I put my hands. You can see me using a small hand axe and shears to snip away the branches that block my path. The heat up here is intense. There is very little breeze close to the trunk because of the dense leaves, and sweat is constantly running into my eyes. But you can't just reach up and wipe your face when your hands are full of spikes and a hammer. You just have to blink through it and keep moving. Every few feet, I stop, secure my footing, pull another spike from my bundle, and find a clear patch of bark to hammer it in. The sound of the hammer hitting the wood, clank, 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 echoes through the quiet jungle. It's a lonely sound, but it's the only thing keeping me connected to the ground. We are passing 80 feet now. If you look through the leaves to the side, you can start to see the horizon. The forest canopy spreads out like a massive green ocean. It is incredibly beautiful, but I try not to look down too much. The mind can play tricks on you when you realize how high you really are. At this height, the bees are starting to find me. You can see a few of them buzzing around my face. They aren't attacking yet. They are just warning me. The Apis dorsata bees are highly sensitive to movement and vibration. The hammering sound of my pegs is definitely keeping them on high alert. My heart rate is up, not just from the physical exertion, but from the anticipation of what's waiting for me at the top. When you harvest wild honey, you are entering their home. You have to respect that. If you go in with too much aggression, they will defend their hive with everything they have. I'm trying to keep my movements as smooth and gentle as possible. No sudden jerking, no swatting at the bees. If one lands on my glove, I just let it be. We are finally reaching the first major branches of the tree, over 100 feet up. This is where the tree splits, creating a perfect shelter for the beehive. The vines are incredibly thick here, wrapping around the limbs like giant snakes. I have to find a place to transition from the vertical trunk to the horizontal branches. This is often the most dangerous part of the climb because your center of gravity changes. I have to step off my metal pegs and carefully transfer my weight onto a branch. All right, here we are. This is the moment of truth. I am sitting on the branch, looking directly at the hive. My first step is to gently clear a path. With my pink gloves, I slowly brush away the outer layer of bees. It feels strange, like brushing a thick, warm, vibrating fabric. As the bees move aside, you can see the golden honeycomb underneath. It is absolutely stunning. The cells are packed with wild forest honey, glowing in the filtered sunlight. Now, I want to talk about how we harvest. This is a sustainable harvest. We never take the entire nest. If you look closely, the hive is divided into sections. The lower part contains the brood, the developing baby bees. The upper part, closest to the branch, is the honey head, where they store the honey. Using my knife, I carefully slice only the honey head. I leave the brood section completely intact and attached to the tree. This is incredibly important. By leaving the brood and a portion of the comb, the colony won't die. They will stay on the tree, rebuild the honey section, and continue to thrive. In a few months, they will have completely recovered. If we took the whole thing, we would destroy the colony, and there would be no bees left for next year. It's all about balance. I'm holding a clear plastic bag open with one hand while using the knife with the other. Slicing through the comb is incredibly satisfying. It's like cutting through warm butter. The smell of fresh, wild honey immediately fills the air. It's rich, floral, and slightly earthy, completely different from anything you buy in a grocery store. harvested comb is heavy. It slides into the plastic bag, dripping with thick, golden liquid. I have to be very careful not to let the honey get all over my gear. Honey is incredibly sticky, and if it gets on my safety lines or my hands, it makes climbing down very difficult and dangerous. Once the honey head is safely in the bag, I seal it up and put it inside my heavy canvas backpack. I zip it up tightly to ensure no bees get trapped inside with the honey and to keep the backpack balanced on my shoulders. Carrying an extra 10 to 15 pounds of shifting liquid weight on your back while climbing down a tree is no joke. I take a deep breath, look at the remaining brood comb where the bees are already starting to gather and rebuild, and prepare myself for the descent. Now comes the long journey back down. Climbing down is often harder on the knees and thighs than climbing up because you have to locate the metal pegs blindly with your feet. You have to feel your way down, step by step, trusting that the pegs you hammered in earlier are still secure. The adrenaline is starting to fade, and the physical exhaustion is setting in. My muscles are trembling slightly, but I have to remain completely focused until my boots touch the solid ground. I want to say a huge thank you to the forest, to this beautiful giant tree, and most of all, to the bees. They worked tirelessly to collect this honey from thousands of wild jungle flowers, and they allowed me to take a small share today. Thank you all so much for coming on this journey with me. If you enjoyed watching this and want to see more traditional harvesting adventures, please consider subscribing. Stay safe out there, respect nature, and I'll see you in the next one.